Right, it's the 2nd of January 2025. It's been mild up to now. We're in for a couple of cool weeks. Where I am specifically on the east coast, Suffolk, it is due to get down to -2 tonight, and lots of sort of -1s and 0 points, but I take that with a pinch of salt. If it's forecast of -2, I'd err on the side of caution, probably say more like -4. So that's the sort of limit to where I like to leave things open, some of the more tender stuff. So we've got some permanent structures up. We've all seen them already if you've watched the channel. Various different types, just to cover some more of the tender palms. I will say everything held up to the wind we had over New Year's Day. We had 55 mph winds here. Everything held up, not a problem. So we've got some Butea odorata. Up to now I've had them, no protection whatsoever, just open. At this point, we're in January and February, definitely the coldest months of the year, so it's best to be prepared. So what I've done is I've tied up the fronds, and they will stay tied up until maybe March time. That's not going to hurt the palm. You can leave them tied up like that. So that in itself is going to protect the growing point, the crown, just a little bit from sort of the frost dropping down and hitting it, and sort of really penetrating cold. That's definitely going to help that. It's obviously not going to give much protection, but it's better than nothing. But I tie them up to make it easier to get the fleece bags over. So there's one tied up there. I've also got a Cycas Revoluta underneath Sago palm. I've got a big fleece bag which will cover both of them in one go. I've just gone round, I've got a couple of cord lines in pots, that sort of thing, so I've just tied them up just to give them a little bit of protection. Another Butea odorata here, tied up. They are quite tightly recurved, these palms, these Buteas, so that's a little bit of a job. I did have to ask the Mrs. Palms to give me a hand with that. I held the fronds while she tied them up. I probably could have done it on my own, but what's the point of taking an eye out or something when you can get someone to help you? So yeah, that's now tied up again, remain like that until March time, when it's less chance of any really cold weather. Then we'll open that back up again. Again, this is going to have a fleece bag over it for the next few days. So we're tying them up, one for a little bit more protection, and two to make it easy to get the fleece bag on. Right, so I've done a few palms over this side with the fleece bags already. I do use, well, I wouldn't recommend wrapping with fleece. That takes too long, and especially if you're taking it on and off. Yeah, it can be a bit time consuming, and you've got to be doing that when it's cold every time you get a chance of any sort of cold spell. You don't want to be doing that. So fleece bags are very convenient. You literally just definitely want one with a zip, so you can unzip it, wrap it round the palm, tie the drawstring at the bottom, and during the day you can have it open, and then at night you can just zip it up. I've left them open for the day today. I mean, it is a really nice day. It's temperature wise, that's only 4 degrees, but it actually feels quite nice with the sun out. But what I will say is, yeah, that's the Butea Aerospace, of which I don't normally protect, but I've got loads of fleece bags, so why not? That took me a couple of minutes just to tie it up and chuck the fleece bag on. No big deal there. So we've got the big one there. We'll finish with that one. We'll look at this one. So we've got the Butea Aerospace. So this is new to me. I was going to say this year. It's obviously last year now. Got that in spring 2024. Yeah, so I let it get sort of -3, -4 is really the limit I wanted to do that unprotected. It doesn't seem to have took any damage at them temperatures, but I'm not going to risk it with this prolonged. I mean, we're talking 2 weeks of daytime temperatures barely getting over, well, between 5 and 7, and nighttime temperatures definitely getting frosts, possibly -3, -4, I'd assume. I mean, it changes from day to day, obviously. So again, what I've done is tied the fronds up. This particular instance, I have put some bamboo canes in just to keep the fleece away a little bit from touching the fronds. That's not crucial, but you know, it does help to, you know, if you do get hard frost and it, you know, the fleece bag freezes if the fronds are touching it. That's not ideal. I'm still going to give more protection than left open, but at least that might help, you know, protect from sort of minor damage, as it were. Anyway, yeah, so we've put 3 canes around. I've put the fleece bag around, and again, just sort of loosely tied at the bottom of the drawstring. So all I've got to do is come out later, just before it gets dark, and I'll just zip these bags up. Literally a 2-minute job. Just walk around the garden, zip all the bags up, job done. And what I will say is, if it's, I mean, we're due for some sunny days but cold, but what I will say is these fleece bags zipped up, and the sun hits and they do warm up, so you don't really want big temperature variations, fluctuations. What you want is to let it breathe during the day, so definitely unzip during the day when it's sunny, just so it doesn't build up too much heat and humidity in there. If it's cold, you know, for a couple of days you can leave it zipped up, it's not a big deal. But you know, any more than a couple of days, definitely give it a unzip just to let some air flow around. Again, this is a temporary measure. It's not an all winter thing. This is just, you know, literally we've got 2 weeks. I'll play it by ear. You know, it might change next week, I don't know. But what I would say is just keep an eye on your local weather forecast. If you're not going to get any frost for a couple of nights, you can take the fleece bag off totally. That doesn't take long just to whip them back on again. If you're really lazy, I mean, for me, you know, you're back to work, it's just a bit awkward. Yeah, that's easier to leave them on and just unzip before you go to work, and unzip, you know, zip them up when you come back from work, that sort of thing. But again, not for months on end. This is, you know, a couple of weeks, not a problem. Any longer than that, we don't tend to get long periods of cold for more than a couple of weeks, so shouldn't be a problem. You can take them right off. So this is one of the biggest fleece bags I've got. I've got a few of these which will cover the bigger palms. This is actually 2 meters by 2 meters, so it's pretty big. It's, I don't know what that is, like 6.5 foot by 6.5 foot. So that covers just about covers the height. Not so crucial about the height, because you've got that mass, so that the frost is going to come down the sides. It doesn't tend to penetrate underneath. That just comes straight down the frost, so that's not going to penetrate underneath so much. Obviously I have mulched to protect the roots anyway, so you know, they're insulated there, but with that big mass over the top of it, that's a good canopy. That's not going to freeze up around the trunk. So another example of that is this smaller palm here, this Spatha. This is got a bag which is only about 1 meter, which is about there's a good foot gap underneath that. But again, not a problem. With mulched, you could just wrap a loose fleece around that if you wanted to, because that'll be sort of kept dry by the canopy of this. So the main thing is, what we're trying to do is protect the foliage and the growing point. It's going to take a lot more cold than -4 to damage the root system or the trunk itself. So yeah, this is the biggest fleece bag I've got. It's fairly thick. These are actually washable as well. So I've got the big Bootia odorata in here, again tied up around the fronds, so that's easier to get the bag on and off. Yeah, just wrap the bag around with the zip undone, and loosely tied at the bottom, so all I've got to do is come out later on and zip it up. So this is quite handy because I did leave a couple of the smaller fronds out of tying up the main fronds, because these are already cut, so they kept springing out, but it doesn't matter, because what that's done is that's gonna keep the fleece away from the nice new fronds. These are old fronds which are sort of starting to, the oldest ones will start sort of browning off anyway, so I'm not too concerned about them. That's actually helping keep the fleece off the newer growth. So yeah, it's just a matter of zipping that up and away we go there. We have got a cord line there, that's Torbay Dazzler, so I've tied that up so that can be covered by the fleece as well at the same time. So again, that's always handy to have. If you've got a plant you're going to protect, why not put, you know, less hardy plants around it, something that may be a bit tender, and that's going to get protected at the same time, so you're not protecting loads of individual plants, you're just doing clusters of plants, if you like, with one big fleece. So the sun is out, and even with the zip open, there's a definite temperature difference inside to outside. That is, and it's, I'm not talking wind chill here. Wind chill doesn't affect plants. You can just feel a temperature difference that does trap the heat. So this is why you will need to open the zips during the day. So this is why you need a zip fleece rather than just a bag fleece, because you know, if you've got cold nights but sunny days, you're going to have huge temperature swings, which is not good. It's good to have a little bit of a bounce back, but you don't want to be -5 at night and sort of 20 degrees during the day. That's not good. That'll promote rot and all sorts of fungal issues. So again, just keep that airflow going, unzip during the day. So yeah, it's fairly still today. If it's windy, we probably won't be getting the frost so much, but if it is windy and really cold, you know, that fleeces can protect against wind burn as well. But I'd just suggest putting some bricks, or, you know, obviously zipped up, tied up as tight as you can at the bottom, and just put some stones or bricks along that just to keep the fleece from blowing about too much. Again, once they're zipped and pulled tight at the bottom, they're normally pretty sturdy, but you know, it doesn't hurt to cover all the bases, as it were. So yeah, that's what I do. So again, sort of going back to a video done a couple of weeks ago, fleeces will make all the difference between damage, you know, getting damaged or not getting damaged, or even killing your plant, and that could save your plants. I mean, used right, it's definitely worth doing, and they're not expensive. I'm not going to say, I can't exactly remember how much these big ones were, but I think I got a stupid, ridiculous price on these. I think I paid about 10 or 12 quid for two, the really big ones. And I know that was an Amazon a couple of years back, and they do vary a lot in price. Probably a bit more expensive now, but even the smaller ones, sort of this size, I've brought a few more this year. About 12 quid for four, for 1 metre by 60 centimetres, something like that. So they're not expensive, you know, it's worth investing in these. You can use them year after year if you look after them, and they will cost you a lot of money in replacing plants, so it's definitely worth doing. Right, so that is how I do it, and feel free if you've got a different way or something you think might be better. But again, this is just for a temporary cool spell. This is not a all winter thing, you know, weeks and months on end thing. I'll do this for a couple of weeks and then they'd come off. But again, with the zips, that does give good airflow during the day. So, you know, that probably would be alright if you had a really cold patch for a really long time. You'd probably get away with it. But I'm just rambling here. Let me know if you do it like this or if you've got a better way. And thanks for watching. I'm now going to bag up the rest of the palms. Before I go, again, I'll just mention colour wise it doesn't make any difference. you're not worried about photosynthesis at this time of year. Even these ones, they do let the cream ones definitely let in more light than the darker colour ones, but even the darker colour ones will let in light. And again, they're not going to be growing this time of year, so don't worry about that. Right, thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.